Welcome back. In this video, we will be learning about how to print a pattern of Floyd triangle. You might be wondering, this looks similar to a right angle triangle, but only difference is in right angle triangle we will use asterisk, or it is almost similar to a right angle triangle. Here, instead of using star, we are using numbers. If you notice, the first row contains 1 and the second row will contain the latest number, not 1. After 1, it is 2. So the second row contains 2 and then 3 since it is a second row. Similarly, third row contains the updated latest number after 3, that is 4, and since it is a third row, it must contain 3 digits, or it must print me a 3 stars or whatever it is, right? Since we are printing a Floyd triangle pattern, it must print me a digit 4, 5, 6. The same goes on until it will get printed to 5 number of digits, right? Till now, in the inner loop, that is inside j loop, we used to use either we were printing either the value of I, j, or star. Why? Because our goal was to print a number of series or a right angle triangle pattern. But now it will vary, because if you try to print I, then I remains same for the j loop. Only j loop will be running until I condition is false. If you print I will always begin with 1 in the new iteration. Clear? That is once j loop becomes false, and when I get incremented, at the same time even the value of j will start with 1. So it will print with 1. But here we have but here in the second row we have starting with 2. In the third row, we have starting with 4, and in the fourth row 7, and the last row is 11. So, in such case, what I will use? I will make use of a temporary variable called as a k. I will use temporary variable called as a k, and I will initialize k to 1. So, in the first print, in the first iteration, I will print the value of k. Right? Now, let us begin how to write this program. So, what I'll do? I will initialize k to 1, and the input is 5, that is n equal to 5 and k equals to 1. So for int i equals to int I equals to 1, where I less than or equal to n, right? Because it must execute 5 times. Next, I will increment I. I will close the bracket and I will follow with for loop. Inner loop. Int j equals to 1, j less than or equal to I, followed by j incrementation, right? Now I will print. What I will print? I will print the value of k, right? Now after printing this, I will increment the value of k. Clear? Now after this, as usual, I will print a new line. It is not letting me to write lowercase print. Yes, this is fine. Now finally I will close it. Right? Now this is the program which we will be using to print this. Now let us see how it works. Initially, when I is 1, so what happens? What is the condition? I less than or equal to 5. The condition is true. So when j is 1, what will happen? It will check for the condition of I. J less than or equal to I. So 1 less than or equal to 1, the condition is true. So what will happen? It will print me k. What is the value of k we have assigned? It is 1. So it will print me 1. Now when j gets incremented to 2, 2 less than or equal to 1, the condition is false. So it will increment the value of I. Initially, the value of I is 1, right? So now it will be incremented to 2. Now the latest value of I is 2. 2 less than or equal to n, which is 5. Now j is 1. Now since the every time the j value get updated to 1 for every new iteration, for this purpose we haven't used I j to print here, and I we cannot use because I will execute once only after j loop finishes its execution. Until that I will not execute, right? Now check for the condition. J less than or equal to I. What is the value of j? 1 less than or equal to 2. The condition is true, right? Now k plus plus means the value of k is 1. It has been incremented to 2, right? So when I'll print k, it will print me as 2 in the second row, right? Now after printing 2, again increment is happening for k plus plus, right? So now the updated value of k remains as 3. Now it is 3, right? Now j plus plus will be incremented where j value would be 2, right? J value would be 2. Now 2 less than or equal to 2. Why? Because we are comparing the condition for I and j, right? So j less than or equal to I, that is 2 less than or equal to 2, the condition is true. So it will print the value of k. Now what is the value of k we have? 3, right? Now k plus plus means 3 gets incremented to 4. Now 4 is stored in k, right? Now when j gets incremented, the condition is false. That is 3, j gets incremented to 3, 3 less than or equal to 2. So the condition is false and the value of I will be incremented to 3, right? The value of I gets incremented to 3. And finally we have ended to third iteration, it is I equal to 3, 3 less than or equal to 5. Now when j is 1, again it will check 1 less than or equal to 3, the condition is true. So the value of k is printed. What is the value of k here? 4. Now k gets updated because we have used increment operator here. K plus plus means 5, right? Now the value of j is getting incremented to gets incremented as 2. Now print k. What is the value of k we have? 5. Now k gets incremented to 6. Now j gets incremented to 3. So 3 less than or equal to 3, the condition is true. Now the value of k is 6. 6 would get printed in the third row. Now the value of j gets incremented to 4 and 4 less than or equal to 3, the condition is false, right? So the iteration will stop here and the value of I will be incremented to 4, right? So the latest value of I what we have is 4. Latest value of I what we have is 4. Now moving on to fourth iteration, that is I equal to 4, 4 less than or equal to n, that is 5. Now j is 1, 1 less than or equal to 4, the condition is true. So it will print the value of k. What is the value of k we have here? Sorry, k gets incremented in the previous iteration, that is 7. So the value of k what we have in the fourth iteration would be 7, right? Now the value of k is incremented again. So the value of k would remain as 8. Now j gets incremented here. J is 2. The condition is true. 2 less than or equal to 4 and the value of k is 8. Now after incrementing 8, it is 9. The value of k is 9. Now it will check for the condition. Sorry, now the j value gets incremented to 3 where 3 less than or equal to 4 and the latest value of k is 9 from the past increment. Now k gets incremented again to 1. Now parallelly even j gets incremented. So j value is 4. 4 less than or equal to 4, the condition is true. And the value of k from the previous iteration was 10. So finally first 4 rows got printed. And when j is 5, the condition is false because 5 is not less than or equal to 5. Right? Now the value of I would remain as 5 after incrementing. So this is my last incrementation. This is my last iteration. Right? Now when I is 5, 5 less than or equal to 5. Right? So j is 1. The value, sorry, here in the last iteration, k would be updated to 11. Now to check for I and j condition, that is j must be less than or equal to I. So the condition is true and the value of k is 11. It will get printed to 11. Now when j gets incremented to 2, the condition is true and the value of, sorry, like here it will be printed, it will get incremented to 12. Yes, when j is 2, the condition is true for 2 less than or equal to 5. So the value of k from the updated iteration is 12. After this again it would get incremented to 13. Right? Now when j is 3, 3 less than or equal to 5, the condition is true and the value of k gets printed to 13. Now 13 gets incremented to 14. Right? Now when j is 4, 4 less than or equal to 5. So the condition is true and the value of k is 14 and the value of k gets incremented to 15. When j is 5, 5 less than or equal to 5, the condition is true. Right? Now the value of k is 15 and finally it will get incremented to 16. Now j will become 6. When j will become 6, this condition goes false. 6 is not less than or equal to 5. Since it is false, the loop will directly come out and it will increment I to 6. Clear? Now when I is 6, it will check for this condition. That is 6 less than or equal to 5. Clear? The condition would go as 6 less than or equal to 5. Since even this condition is false, the loop will directly come out and print the cases whatever we have here. So this is what you see in your final output. This pattern you get in your output. And I have shown this k to make sure that you are able to understand how k is working here, how the temporary variable is working here. Why we are not using j? Because j will get updated every time the iteration runs. Similarly, I remains constant every time the j loop runs. Clear? Now let us move on to editor. So this is a program that I have written here and let us execute it. And here I have made use of a temporary variable called as a k and I have assigned it to 1. So let us provide as 5. So if you see, the second row is taking up the latest value from the previous row. Similarly, in fourth row, 11 starts because it is picking up the latest value. Let us execute one more time and let us provide as 10. So from row 1 to row 10, you are seeing all the values. These are the values of k. It started with 1 followed with 55. Almost 55 times the loop ran. Right? So this is about Floyd triangle. Keep practicing and also have a practice on the previous program which I have taught you. Thank you.